And welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. The Nigerian army says Boko Haram insurgents are now fleeing their main hideout, the Sambisa forest, in huge numbers as the army steps up to its campaign to eradicate the sect. The Boko Haram insurgency has raged on in Nigeria's northeast region for about 7 years now, killing over 10,000 people. In a statement by Colonel Sani Usman, army spokesperson, the army said it was indeed winning the war against the sect, as it has successfully chased back the insurgents from some of its bases. The Nigerian Air Force says it has successfully carried out airstrikes on a logistics base belonging to the Boko Haram terrorists. The Air Force, in a statement signed by its spokesperson, Group Captain Ayodele Famuyiwa, said the latest airstrikes were carried out on Monday, April 11th by the Nigerian Air Force F-7NI fighter aircraft in Kangarawa, Borno State, northern East Nigeria. The Air Force said the strike is another major setback for the insurgents and victory for the Operation Lafia Dole, which has recorded immense success in the past few weeks. Amnesty International says the Nigerian military should be investigated after claims by the Kaduna State government that the army secretly buried 347 people after clashing with members of the Shiite Muslim sect. The group also said anyone suspected of wrongdoing must be put on trial. The Kaduna State government had told an inquiry that more than 347 persons killed during last year's clash between the Nigerian army and Shiite Muslims were taken from an army depot and buried in mass graves. Secretary to the state government Balarabe Lawal disclosed this in a government submission at the ongoing public hearing of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the clash. The army previously said the Shiite Muslims had tried to assassinate its chief of staff, Lieutenant General Tukuburatai, when members of the sect blocked his convoy, a claim the sect has since denied. In January, the army chief of staff told the inquiry that his soldiers had acted appropriately in the raid. China has offered Nigeria a loan worth $6 billion to fund infrastructure projects. The announcement came as both countries signed key agreements following a meeting between Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari and Chinese President Xi Jinping. President Buhari is currently in China on a working visit and says Nigeria has been in talks with China on an infrastructure loan for months now. Following the announcement of the loan, the reactions have continued to pour in, with two financial experts commending the loan deal, saying it would go a long way to promote developments in Nigeria.
Every country, every nation of the world seek loan to promote certain economic agenda of the government. And loans are good if the rates are good, especially when you can count on the fact that the returns will be better. So locally too, investors seek loan everywhere when you have a clear objective of what you want to use the loan for. So getting a loan from anywhere, if you miss the objective, is not bad. So the one we're getting from China, I understand, is to be channeled to infrastructure development, which is an area we need rapid development in. So I really support the government. I think the president is moving in the right direction. I think the monies will be utilized in a way that will be beneficial to the citizenry.
The way I would look at it is that loan itself, if properly used, is a very veritable tool for economic development. Basically, and for an austere and serious-minded person like President Buhari, the funds he's going to access from China will certainly be deployed for specific infrastructure development. I understand he's supposed to support a rail line and maybe some other construction activities. But the basic fact is that when you borrow at a good rate, because I understand that the loans will come at concessionary rate. When you borrow at a good rate and deploy it for economic productive assets, you obviously catalyze economic development and economic growth. You fast track the process of economic growth. If you have to rely on your earnings, unfortunately for the country when our earnings are very low today because oil price has come down, then the series of economic development plans that the government has in the pipeline will not materialize. So by fast tracking, to fast track that process, they need to assess long-term funding from friendly entities, and in this instance from the Chinese government, at very concessionary rates. So the return, the most important is the return on the asset where the government is going to invest these funds must be higher than the interest that the government will be committed to paying. And then once we have a long-term funding and the rate is concessionary, then it behoves of the country to make sure we invest appropriately and generate enough revenue to pay back the loan when it matures.
Still on President Buhari's visit to China, the president has met with the Nigerian community in that country. The meeting was held at the Nigerian House in Beijing. Now, before that meeting, he stopped at the China Aerospace Science Technology Cooperation Center in Beijing, China. He was accompanied by the Minister of Science and Technology, Ogbonnaya Onu, and Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi. Taraba State Governor Darius Ishaku on Wednesday said he would leave no stone unturned in bringing those responsible for an attack in the state to justice. Suspected Fulani herdsmen reportedly attacked residents of Angai and Ndole villages in Gashaka local council area of the state, killing scores of people. Though the exact number of casualties is yet to be confirmed by authorities, sources say no fewer than 44 persons were killed in the incident. Governor Ishaku urged residents with useful information on the perpetrators of the killings to come forward. The attack is the latest in a series of attacks by suspected herdsmen after a previous attack in Agatu community, Benue State, which killed over 100 people and displaced many others. The Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Ibrahim Auta, has directed Justice Abdul Kafarati to deliver judgment on the appeal filed by Senate President Bukola Saraki against the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Saraki is facing a 13-count charge of false declaration of asset while he was governor of Kwara State. He has since pleaded not guilty to all the charges leveled against him, describing them as false and frivolous, adding that the charges were calculated to rubbish him. He had filed an appeal at the court seeking to stop the trial, arguing that the CCT was not properly constituted. Following the controversy surrounding the 2016 budget, Nigeria's House of Representatives says it would re-examine the bill. This was disclosed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, after the members had an executive session on Monday. It comes after the Nigerian government insisted that the Lagos-Calabar Rail project was part of the 2016 budget submitted by the executive to the National Assembly. Minister of Budget and National Planning Udo Udoma made the clarification in a statement issued by his media advisor, James Akpandem. The minister in the statement admitted that while the Budget Office made some errors while preparing the 2016 budget, these errors were corrected before the budget was submitted to the National Assembly. Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has enforced the use of pedestrian bridges across the state. The rule was first implemented by the last administration of former Governor Babatunde Raji Fashola, but most people soon neglected the rule and went back to crossing the expressway without using the footbridges, and of course resulting in some deaths. While the present governor is trying to enforce the rule once again. TV360's Olayemi Eson was at the Ojota pedestrian bridge and now reports.
It's this unusual scene we met when we got to the popular Ojota pedestrian bridge. Pedestrians flooding onto the bridge. It's unusual because before now, most pedestrians hardly make use of the bridge, preferring to rather run across the major expressway here, even at the risk of being knocked down by moving vehicles. But it's a different story now. The Lagos State government has decided to act. With the presence of FT bouncers and officials of the state kick against indiscipline Kai, pedestrians now know better not to run across the road but make use of the bridge. Wire barricades have also been erected to compel pedestrians to use the footbridge. And as a result, the bridge is congested with pedestrians struggling to make their way through.
The experience I had this morning, or we had, Nigeria had this morning, it wasn't pleasant at all. Because the queue was much, it's as far as down to Olatunji as at this morning. It was crazy. And I was going to Ikeja. When I came out from my house, I was thinking that it's even the BRT queue. I never knew that it was going to, climbing the bridge. And it was very crazy because In this present time that Nigerians are suffering, and we have to queue, we have to be forced to queue. Fine, we know that what government is doing, they are doing it for us. But what is the palliative measures? What have you put in place in order to ease the tensions of people? We are going through the issue of fuel. We are going through the issue of queue of fuel. Before we buy fuel in our generator is war. Now we want to go to work. Maybe we have one or two things to do on the other side. We have to be forced to queue and spend hours in queue. It's unfair. What government should have done, what I expected them, yes, they are doing the right thing, but what they should have done is, at least, this bridge is too small for this kind of crowd. It's too small. It's too small. So we need, if they can build more, at least more bridges like this, in other words, to ease the population.
During rush hour, some pedestrians spend close to an hour queuing up just to cross the bridge. Some pedestrians are urging the government to consider a second bridge in the area to ease the long queue.
What government is doing is good, but the way they block all the way for us not to pass is not good. If you are in danger, you cannot cross this place, especially people going to K2 at night, all those places. You know, bad boys and other bad people are there. You cannot cross if you are in danger. What I'm pleading is for government to open all places, not at the bus stop, like this place that is rowdy. Fine, they can leave, they can close it, but all places that people coming from any other place can cross. Assuming you're coming back from the east and they stop you at that total, you carry your load on the head to this place to cross. If it's late at night, what will you say? What will you do? Will you go to Maryland to cross or what? We're just begging them to open the old places, not at the bus stop. You can see how I'm breathing crossing up this here. Some people, their health does not accept crossing up this place. Please, we are begging them.
I think they need more than one, because it's too congested. It's a lot of people, you know, so, and it's a busy bus stop. So they need to consider getting another one here. A lot of people want to pass through the major road like that, and they get knocked out by the car. So the best thing is enforcing this by building those fences and making people to take the bridge instead of passing through the crossing the road.
It remains to be seen whether the state government would consider erecting a second bridge, but the current situation has certainly exposed the inefficiency of the current bridge. Olayemi Eson, TV360, Lagos.
A prosecution witness at the trial of Nigeria's former Air Chief Alex Badi has narrated how he authorized his aide to each month convert over 558 million naira stolen government money to United States dollars. Badi is one of the former military chiefs indicted by the committee established by President Muhammadu Buhari to audit the procurement of arms and equipment in the armed forces and defense sector from 2007 till 2015. He's currently facing a 10-count charge for crimes bordering on money laundering and has been granted bail for the sum of 2 billion naira. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has arraigned a former acting Director General of Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (NIMASA), Haruna Baba Jauro, on a 19-count charge of stealing and money laundering. Jauro was arrested and arraigned by the EFCC based on its findings during the investigation of another former head of NIMASA, Patrick Akpobolokemi. EFCC accused Jauro of receiving 159 million naira from Akpobolokemi to allow the former Director General and his cohorts embezzle large sums of money from the agency. Time for a short break. Now we'll come back and look at business and sports stories. Stay tuned.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching the Funny White Man Show, which is the biggest, the brightest, and the most entertaining show in Africa.
Funny white man, funny white man, funny white man, but this way you talk, it's too much. Give me 5,000 man, that's you. It's too much. So you get it like, when she move along the street, yeah, me should like that, I'm going girl, you know, my own people, actually. Yeah, fine, it's fun. I enjoy it. And I'm one of those very few, I'm forever taking it personal. I will say 160 million Nigerians are corrupt. How? My brother, I'm looking for you.
Yeah, but it's a growth, and this is the time to build business and know the pitfalls and know what to do and what not to do. But there are months where you get business and months.
You know how we do, how we train them. We do the way you do.
Hello, you're welcome. You're watching Trending Matters on the Funny White Man Show. Of course, we will bring you trending issues just to entertain and tickle your fancy.
Welcome back. You're watching TV360 News now. Nigeria has agreed a currency swap deal with China as part of efforts to strengthen the naira. The deal is one of the many deals reached following a meeting between Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari and Chinese President Xi Jinping. President Buhari is currently in China on a working visit. Nigeria, which is Africa's biggest economy, is looking for ways to shore up its currency and fund a record budget deficit, possibly by issuing yuan-based bonds in China. Meanwhile, Managing Director of Lagos-based Cowrie Asset Management and Investment Bank, Johnson Chukwu, has said there is a need for balance in the trade relations between Nigeria and China. According to him, the balance of trade between both countries is currently skewed in favor of China, adding that Nigeria needs to take advantage of all the bilateral agreements President Buhari has just signed with the Chinese government to begin to export goods and products to China.
We need to look at how do we broaden our the nature of our trade. The trade between China and Nigeria. Unfortunately for us, the flow is in that one direction, in the sense that Nigerians import a lot of Chinese goods, but hardly export anything to China. So what we now need to do is to encourage the Chinese people to also look at how do they patronize a few of the Nigerian goods that are of international export standards. Today, we have competitive advantage in a few items, but the key thing is that beyond the fact that we import from them, they should also encourage us. We should find it should be a win-win relationship. We should also have things to export to China. And again, the government should drive that the Chinese investors or businessmen should come to Nigeria and set up and manufacture those items that we import from their country. That will help us moderate the outflow of foreign exchange that we currently suffer. For me, it's going to be all about deepening of trade relationship, deepening of the interaction between Nigerian businessmen and Chinese businessmen. I hope the president went with a group of businessmen that will build on the structure that the president is trying to build.
OPEC on Wednesday caught its forecast for global oil demand growth in 2016. The body also warned of further reduction, citing concern about Latin America and China, pointing to a larger supply surplus this year. World demand will grow by 1.20 million barrels per day in 2016, OPEC said in its monthly report, citing that 50,000 barrels per day less than expected previously may be produced. It also cited the impact of removal of fuel subsidies in some countries. OPEC's refusal to cut output in the late 2014 helped accelerate a drop in oil prices. Oil futures traded lower on Wednesday on concerns that a producer meeting planned for Sunday in Doha to discuss freezing output would do little to trim oversupply and a strengthening dollar. Brent crude was down 34 cents at $44.35 a barrel, while U.S. crude dropped 49 cents to $41.68 a barrel. Many members of OPEC plus outside producers such as Russia are meeting in Doha, Qatar on Sunday to discuss freezing output. Two former coalition partners of Brazil President Dilma Rousseff say they will vote for her impeachment over claims she manipulated government accounts. The Progressive Party PP, which quit the coalition on Tuesday, says most of its 47 members would vote for the impeachment. The Republican Party PRB said its 22 members had been told to vote for it. Rousseff faces an impeachment vote in the lower house on Sunday amid claims she juggled the accounts to make her government's economic performance appear better than it was ahead of her election campaign 2 years ago. She has since denied the allegations. The Super Falcons of Nigeria have qualified for the 2017 African Women Cup of Nations after defeating Senegal 3-1 on aggregate. The Falcons won the second leg 2-0 at the Abuja National Stadium after securing a 1-1 draw in the first leg on Friday. Goals from Chikwelu Rita and Igbenovia Osara Noma helped the Falcons to secure their victory. The World Anti-Doping Agency WADA has agreed to relax its rules on meldonium, a drug it added to its list of banned substances on January 1, 2016. The agency also announced it will grant amnesty to any athletes who tested positive to the drug on or before March 1, 2016. The most high-profile athlete to have tested positive to the drug is Russian tennis star Maria Sharapova, who is currently serving a provisional ban for testing positive to the drug during the Australian Open held in January. Spanish giants Real Madrid and their star player Cristiano Ronaldo broke several Champions League records as they overcame German club Wolfsburg 3-2 on aggregate in their Champions League quarter-final. A hat-trick from Ronaldo helped Madrid overturn a 2-0 deficit in a European match for the first time in 27 years. Ronaldo's hat-trick means he becomes the first player to score 3 hat-tricks in one Champions League season. That's all we have on news now. We thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.